2013 marks the 20th anniversary of Projects for a New Millennium. From performance events to educational programs, the constant driving force has been founder Joy Wulke.
Robert Wilson had said art and science are the same thing. It's a search for truth and beauty. We're always searching.
With longtime collaborators Jamie Burnett and Istvan BRacz, Joy has fostered numerous creative concepts that pique the interest of the community and fill the soul of earnest young minds.
You take everything for granted because you live in a world where you're overloaded with sensory information, sounds, you name it. And when you come to something like this, it's thought-provoking.
It's pretty interesting to see how the reactions are during these shows. And everyone that's ever seen them, certainly liked the shows. That was for sure. And, somehow they make each one different.
I really think these sort of events are a wonderful opportunity for people to bring your kids down and appreciate them, get them to stop and breathe in this fantastic environment.
I think a new appreciation of the world in which people live and a new way of seeing things, and also appreciating, in this case, a local industry that has an amazing amount of history.
Community. It has an attraction to the arts as well as attraction to this open space, and you have people that can actually be part of it.
This passion for environmental art reaches back to Joy's own youthful wonderment.
I spent a lot of time as a child with my family in national parks, especially Yosemite. And back then they had something called the fire falls. When I saw those burning embers coming down over the side of a granite mountain, it was just indescribable in terms of the kind of emotional response that you had with that. And so I always in my mind thought that you could both make art and be part of art in natural settings. The reason for Projects 2K was an opportunity to collaborate with people in other artistic media and also other professions. I mean, we really enjoy working with state geologists, people from Yale, and optical physicists, and it's really just kind of an idea jam session. The first project was the visualization of time, and we turned the lower quarry into a laser chronometer and a sundial, gigantic sundial. Invited 12 different artists to do hour markers, do interpretations that were hung from the walls of the quarry, floated in the pond and back up the other side. And Unc DeRoss, whose family has worked in the quarry for 3 generations, was out there with his crew and setting it up. So it was a whole community involved event. Captured everybody's imagination, and it's been a sort of anticipatory event ever since. When's the next one? When's the next one?
The next one and the next one have kept on coming as performance events, installations, and educational programs have engaged and enlightened communities and students throughout the region and beyond for 2 decades.
The goal of education should be is to instill in someone the need to want to learn more.
You have an open-mindedness, a fascination, a willingness to explore, an appreciation for where you're at and what has happened before, which is critical, and critical thinking. The very first one that I was involved with was Terra Continuum.
A brief history of scientific discovery of the last 5,000 years.
Brief.
Including string theory, as told by a white rabbit.
That was done at Yukon Avery Point, which is actually right at a point that was part of Pangaea that broke off, the supercontinent, so that they're the same rocks at every point that there are in North Africa.
In the program, Joy tends to do research like a whole classroom in the program. Concepts that we've discussed in the show are sort of listed and documented and encyclopedized in the program, so that kids and families can go back into it later and say, oh, that's what they were talking about. I'm going to learn more about this,
Yeah, my neighbor sort of forced her 15-year-old son to come as a support person. He said, oh, just another hippie light show. It's going to be so boring. Saw him a few days later, and I said, how was it? I was like, it was awesome. It was awesome. And he said, then when I got home and I looked at the program, I realized it was about geology, and you had those books, and I'm making my mom buy me books on geology. I thought, if you can get a 15-year-old boy excited about geology, done the right thing.
The next show, Terra Lumina, was the first one where I was creating the soundtrack, and it was all pre-recorded, but it was live mixing. So we could get a lot more precise with, you know, different effects and, you know, explosions, lights, lasers, you name it. The idea of Izzy the Frog kind of started out with this presence of frogs in the background of the recordings. These wonderful sounds that they were making. And during the show, these frogs would gorge themselves on these gnats and mosquitoes and sing along with the entire music and show and the lights.
You're using all your senses to take in an art piece or you know, a visual performance. You have sound, you have visual, you have
Tracking, attention.
Yeah, all those things, and then you're getting some knowledge and learning at the same time. All those things are reinforced together. Your brain takes in and registers more clearly when all the senses are in use. We don't want to present anything like a PBS documentary. It's more ethereal.
Ethereal
Dreamlike.
Storytelling.
Yes.
Where the audience is invited to sort of make the connections between the spaces that we leave. It's the experiences that families have together, and then also can be taken into the schools and become a little bit more formal in its presentation. Frogs, for example, they're metamorphic. They've been both good and bad characters in cultural stories from the beginning of time. They are very sensitive to the environment, so they carry a lot of interesting points and stories to them. It's been really great for educational programs. I went out to the schools and worked with 5th graders, and then they came onto the central campus and did something called an Izzy hip hop, which was a riot. It was like so cute. You can imagine kids like boinging over there.
Yes, it's at that time when you can boing.
Joyce DeLauro has been involved in every project that we've done, and she has a dance school called Starship Dance Company. She's been very generous with her time.
To see the effort and dedication that brings ongoing projects to life only heightens the appreciation for the larger quarry shows, all of which have a small beginning, a brainstorming session.
Everyone come with their ideas and their books and their drawings and photographs or whatever, and then we kind of collaborate and say, yeah, that's really a great idea. And then in a way, we kind of create somewhat of a theme, but
framework.
It's always a framework.
Actually putting the show together, we often bring in someone to help us, logistically direct, put the people together. You go here, this happens then.
Well, then you get into both the pragmatics of it, grant writing, funding from corporations, support from politicians, all of the things that people are not going to be aware of in the end.
A special thank you to our sponsors and supporters, including the David Bermont Foundation, the Connecticut Department of Economic and Community Development, the Community Foundation for Greater New Haven, Tilcon of Connecticut, New Alliance Foundation, Uncta Ross and the Town of Branford, past lessees of the Stony Creek Quarry and current lessee Douglas Anderson, and to those who continue to support and attend Project 2K's performance events.
If we could build on it and do something every 2 years, I think we would have an audience from all over the country here to see this.
Yeah.
We'd be the new Firefall. Project 2K was created as an opportunity to make collaborations between artists and science, and to create programs that are involving and intriguing and mysterious and magical and dreamlike, that draw in people of all ages. So it's intended to create opportunities for people to dream more and ask questions. Art science equals education, and art and science at their best creates a sense of curiosity, a desire to learn more.
Listen to these words. There is a message